What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? This is part two or take two of the 13 by 19 tiling in order to achieve the all over shirts in Photoshop. If you use Affinity, we showed this process today with Affinity Designer, and that video is posted. So now we're going to do it in Photoshop. So in this case, Sita, if you're here, this one's for you, love. And if you're not, I will send you this link so that you can review it at a later time. Hi, Lisa. All right, so this is something I get asked a lot. In this particular video, I'm going to try to break it down to where I can show you in more concise steps what you're doing when you're breaking down the image to print it as tiles, as we call in paste up sessions. So back in the day when you used to want to make a big poster board and you had a smaller printer, what you would do is tile those smaller pages in order to make a larger image. So in this case, this is exactly what we're doing here. So I'm going with the image that we just created. This will be a template available for you all as well. But for right now, we're going to pretend like this is our template. This is what we're working with. I'm going to show you each step. So let me make sure I turn my tracker on. I think it's on. It's good. Test there. There we go. So first thing I'm going to do is save this as, I'm going to save as, and I'm going to do a PDF because I'm going to open this in a PDF viewer. So I'm going to save as, and let's find Photoshop PDF. But here's the deal. I don't want the layers, okay? Because the layers is just going to make the file huge for no reason. We don't need the layers. I'm going to make sure that my ICC profile is in there, that sRGB 2.1. That's what I use. And I can save it as a copy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And it's going to give me some options. The option that I want selected at the top is I can do high quality print. This one says modified. And more than likely it's modified because I changed one of these. So let's just choose high quality print. And here's the modified. It says preserve Photoshop editing capabilities. I'm taking that off because I want this as flat as if it were a JPEG, okay? I don't care that it can be edited in Photoshop anymore because I have my original Photoshop file still in my possession. So I'm going to save this. It'll take a few moments to save. And meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and open up my other program. So this is a free program, Adobe Acrobat Reader. So I'm going to start typing in Reader because I already have it installed here. Now at the end of the video, if you don't have Adobe Acrobat Reader, which most of you do, then I'll show you how to get the reader, okay? So for this part, we're going to go File and Open. And let's go ahead and go to our templates. That's the one we were working on just there with the road. We'll go to Open. And it's going to bring up this big old image. Now it's trying to read the text here, regardless if I told it, don't worry about it being editable. It's just going to do that just because it's coming from Photoshop and inherently it knows some properties about this file. That's fine. What we're more interested in is fake printing this right now. So we're going to go to File and Print. We're not going to print from Photoshop. We're going to print to the PDF. So if I scroll here, I'll see an option for the Adobe PDF printer. Now you don't have an Adobe PDF printer at your home. This just means that it's going to print as a document, okay? So when I go to Adobe PDF, it has its own properties. And I want to make sure that I edit these properties for precisely what I want to see. I'm going to go to my properties and I'm going to change two things. For the default settings, I'm going to choose high quality print because I wanted to print high quality. And then for the page size, I'm going to choose 13 by 19 Super B. You see that? And if you don't see that option there, we can go to Add, and I think I made that up, 13 by 19 Super B. So 1319 Add Modify, and there you go. So if you did, yeah, I did make that up because I made up a 13 by 36 one too. So if I tile with the 13 by 19 sheets, I'll use this one. If I'm tiling with the rolls of paper, I cut my paper, my roll media down to 36 inches and I make it a 13 by 36. So I would use that. And I'll show you that after I show you the 13 by 19 setup, I'll also show you the 13 by 36 setup. So we have 13 by 19 selected. I can say OK, and automatically notice that our preview changes to only include 4 sheets of paper now. Now I'm going to tell you right now that if you're printing up to an extra large, possibly even a 2X, you will not need these 2 tiles. So tile number 5 and tile number 8, you won't need it. So you can literally press this in 5 sheets, and I'm going to show you how today. Okay, 5 sheets is all it takes for you to print one side of a shirt. Now I know before we were doing 8, but I found out some great stuff and I'm going to show you how to make it work. Okay. All right, so next, we're going to make sure that we have an overlap here. So this overlap right now is 0 inches. That means my image, when it prints out, will be butt up against one another and I have no room for error. I'm going to make that 0.5. I'm giving myself a whole half of an inch to overlap on either side of the paper. That's going to be my safe zone so that if I cut a little too much off, I'm still able to give myself a little bit of leeway there. Make sure that you keep your tile scale at 100%. Do not change that, okay? And the orientation we're going to make sure is on portrait. And that is it. I believe that is it. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and hit print now, and nothing's going to print out. What is happening right now is it's printing to a file. And as a matter of fact, you see this pop up that came down here? It wants me to name with this. So I'm going to name this whatever my document is, and then I'm going to put tile. And save. All right, and I have to remember this went to my demo folder. So while this is saving, it shouldn't take that long. If it takes a long time, usually it's because of the processor that you have and the RAM that you have available to do these type of tasks. This can be really intensive. Imagine you're literally designing a big poster board, bigger than a poster board, on your computer and it's trying to think through things. So I have a pretty powerful computer, but it still takes a little bit of time. So give it that patience there. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this because this is my editable file and I don't need it. I am going to, oh, it's still printing. So while that's printing, I tell you what, I will help you all find out how to download the Adobe free reader. So I'm going to show you how to get to it from Google because I like for you to learn how to do your own research. If I send you a link, you will never actually look that information up for yourself. And if that link goes bad, you'll be relying on me for the rest of your life to replace that bad link. And I don't like that type of weight on my shoulders, okay? So let me show you how to find it. We're going to type in Adobe Acrobat Reader, okay? So this is a free program, and you can use this for just reading your Adobe documents. Now Adobe documents can be read online, but before you had to have a program to open them up. All right, so I'm going to open up Adobe Acrobat Reader. Let's see what it takes to download it, and it's going to try to get you to download some extra stuff. They have an Acrobat Pro, which Acrobat Pro is great if you ever need to edit the PDF documents. Let's say you do a lot of legal paperwork and you got to redact this and fill out that, or you do a tax paperwork and you need to be able to fill out forms all the time. Acrobat Pro is for you. If this is what you're doing, is strictly tiling your images, download this reader and be through with it. You don't need to spend any extra money, okay? So I'm going to download the reader for you all. I'm going to take off these optional offers because they're also optional pains in the butt sometimes. And I'm going to turn off everything. You also have the ability to install the Adobe Reader Chrome extension. I'm not going to install it. I'm going to show you straight up what the program looks like. So when I download, Let's give that a little time. Let's check on our document here. Are we still not done? All right, so it's gonna ask me where I wanna save it. And I'll save it here in my little file that I'm supposed to be cleaning out every week, but I don't. All right, so I have that downloaded now. That is an executable file. So all you have to do, what I do is I right click and I show in my folder because I want to see where stuff is saving before I just, bust it open and start installing it. So then I'll right click and you can, okay, my PDF is being created. Yay. So we'll finish this up. But if you need to, you can run as administrator. That way you don't run into any kinks while you're going. It's going to ask you if it can make changes. You're going to say yes. And the installation will begin. And it says newer version already installed. Cool, then I don't need to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. But you're going to go through this process. You'll download it. And that's it. Okay? That's it. Uh-oh, insufficient data for image. I might have been trying to do too much. Okay, there it is. So it opened up a preview of it. All right, now I'm still not, even though it cut down, you see it sliced my pages. Very lovely. I'm still not going to print from this Adobe. And what happened is it opened it up in Acrobat Pro. Like I said, I have the Adobe Suite. You don't need the Acrobat Pro. You just need the Acrobat Reader. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this, and I no longer need the Acrobat Reader. I'm going to open Photoshop. I'm going to File, Open, and I'm going to find that file that I just created. And I believe it was in my templates and in a folder called Demo. I'll tell you what. There it is. That's my demo folder. And right click, sort by date, because I like to see my freshest files up top. There we go. So that's it. It's 8 pages. I'm going to open those 8 pages. And it's going to say, hey, which ones do you want to open up? Well, I'll tell you that I only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay, that's all I need for up to an extra large. Now, I probably could shift this a little bit, and if I would have maybe gave it a little more space on the side, I probably could even get a 2x without using that 8th tile. But there's the deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to do up to an extra large. Now, if you need to do up to a 3x, you're printing every last one of these, 1 through 8, and you can hold down Shift and select them all, okay? But because I know I'm doing an extra large, small, medium, large, or extra large, I'm only going to select the tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, okay? And I'm going to leave all of my settings here. Now your settings may be different, but it's telling me what the image size is. It's telling me it's 13 by 18.5. And then it's telling me there's a resolution of 150, which was how I designed it, was 150 pixels per inch. And I designed it in RGB. Cool, we're good. I can say okay, and it's going to open these as separate tabs. Which is beautiful because if I go to print now, and y'all know how these Epsons trip and start printing in the middle of a print, I actually know now because it says all over rows, clouds, tile, --1. I know which tile to reprint if it messes up in the middle of my print. I don't have to guess which one was tile number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? So this is how you would print. I would start with 1, and I would literally go File, Print, and I'm going to tell you my exact print settings. This is one of my Epson wireless ones, so 7710. I'm going to go to Print Settings. These are my print settings that I have set up, and I save these print settings. So I saved it as N8 Lab 13 by 19 Plain Max Quality. I'll do a separate video showing you how to save these exact settings and how to name it and everything. So just letting you know what my settings are. It's on paper cassette. It's on Super B as the document size. Portrait, because I wanted to print portrait-wise. For the paper type, I have it on plain paper. And then for the quality, You have to go, if you just go to straight up high, that's not going to be high enough. You need to go to more settings and you need to crank it up to highest quality. Okay? And then you go over to your more options tab. And for my ink, I don't know about, if you have a ICC profile or you have someone that has their own ink and they tell you, hey, you need to make sure that ICM is on. That's not the case in this case. I have to turn color correction off because I don't want the printer guessing my colors at all. I want Photoshop to manage my colors. So I go to custom. You're probably on automatic. I'm going to go to custom. I'm going to go to advanced and I'm going to turn it to no color adjustment. I don't want my printer to try to struggle and battle with Photoshop. Okay. It's going to surrender to Photoshop. Right. The other thing that I do is I turn off high speed and make sure that mirror image is turned on. And those are your basic settings. The next thing that you want to do in this section down here, now the document profile is sRGB 2.1, but when you see this, it's probably going to show you whatever your document profile is here. It's going to show you color handling is handled by the printer. Now we have to use our logic here. We just told the printer not to manage any color. So in this case, we want Photoshop to manage the color. So we're going to make sure that we choose Photoshop manages colors. Now the default to this one is the one that I use and I like the best. I'll let you know if that ever changes. It's Epson IJ, stands for inkjet printer 07. Okay. And I choose normal printing here. That's going to be default. Relative colorimetric. Some people will have it on perceptual. I've been using relative colorimetric and doing just well with it. And then I make sure that black point compensation is on. I don't touch any of this other stuff. What's the point? I don't want to scale this. I don't want to mess anything up. I just want to print and I want my colors to be right. So I'm going to hit print from here. And I think my printer is off, so it shouldn't send it. But I'll show you some things I have matched the print colors on. And what this does is it kind of shows me based on what my color profile is, my paper and all. It kind of gives me a preview, but it's not necessarily true. So I don't really go by this at all. But I do it so that it makes me feel like, okay, I've got Photoshop managing my colors. Okay, if I have the printers managing the colors, I have none of those options. So when I choose Photoshop manages the color and I see that paper look a different color, it makes me know, oh, okay, I'm on the right mode. I'm telling Photoshop to manage my colors and it's going to come out great. All right, so I would hit print here. Like I said, I think it's off, but okay, it's off. So it's offline, but I need to make sure I cancel that print job before I turn it back on. But if it was online, it would go ahead and start printing page 1, right? Now, the beautiful thing about Photoshop, once you go out and kind of print one document, usually when you go to print the next one, it will have those settings saved. So I have, and I get a little paranoid. I check these print settings anyway, just to make sure, okay, I'm still 13 by 19, still bright paper. You'll probably do that a lot. But once you get used to it, you understand, hey, I printed that first one out. It's saving those settings. I'm on Photoshop Manages Colors, Epson Inkjet Printer 07, good to go, print. And I will literally go through each of these, 1, 2. I will go ahead and print 3. Then I will print 4. Then I would do 6 and 7. 6 pages. Now here's the deal. I want to show you something that you can do with tile number 1 and 4. Technically, you're doing a 13 by 19, and this part of the image, you don't really necessarily need it depending on what size shirt you're printing. Remember, that was like our little excess to go into the 2X and the 3X. So this sleeve here is all we need. So let me show you a little trick here. If I start from here, I'm going to grab a little box there. I'm actually going to Control C, I'm going to copy, then I'm going to paste, right? And I'm going to turn this background layer off. So I have that sleeve. I can do Control T now to the sleeve piece that I just made, and I'm going to turn it so it fits on this page this way. Now, the idea here is that I don't need all of this sleeve. And let's see, that's one sleeve. Let me see if I can get my other sleeve on here. I'm going to see if I can get two sleeves on here. So tile number 1. Let's see, what was it? Tile number 1 and tile number, why is it tile number 2? It kind of put it in an odd number. I would think it'd be tile number 1 and tile number 4. One, two. Hold on, y'all. Let me do this again. Open. So that should be, that's what I thought. That should be what 2 looks like. No. Let me close these out. I'm going to reopen this. So that's what 3 looks like. That should be what 4 looks like. Okay, so every last one of them are the same, are correct, except for that 2. So let's do it again. File, open. And it may very well have something to do with me not choosing all the tiles. Let me just go ahead and open all of them and see. And make sure my 2 came out correct. Y'all hear my little computer breathing right now. Tile number 2. There it is. I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong. But tile 2 is supposed to look like that. So I'm trying to take my sleeve tile. So tile number 4 and tile number 1 is what I'm trying to reposition right now. And I want to make sure that I keep my bleed on the area that's going to overlap. This part out here is just extra bleed. If I'm doing an extra large, I don't even need all of this right now. So we're going to transform this. Control T was a transform. I'm not going to shrink it in. I want to keep it 100%. You got to keep it 100. Otherwise, you end up risking cutting some stuff off. I definitely don't want to cut off my wings here. Even though I have a 1/2 inch overlap, I still don't want to get right up to that edge because the printer itself will cut that off. So I'm going to give myself a little space there and come over here and grab tile number 1. So that's my 1. And then I'm looking for 4. So I'm going to take 1 and drag it on to 4. Oops, it did it. I was just being a little too fast. All right. So I'll call this 4 and I'll call this 1 just so that I know. And essentially, I'm just trying to save a sheet of paper. You don't have to do this. If it is good for you to just go ahead and print that as its own sheet of paper, then you're good. You'll just be using 6 sheets instead of 5 sheets. All right, and here I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to do a little multiply effect. Let's go to my layers and see how much we're overlapping. And I can kind of shift my image accordingly. Control T. Well, now it appears my Control T isn't working. There we go. And I'm trying to see how I can get this in here this way. And this is a little bit extra work. You shouldn't have to do all of this. But for, you know what? I'm going to suggest that you don't do this because I'm being real bold right now. And I'm probably going to need some of that excess on the edge. And I don't want to teach it improperly. So I was hoping you can get both sleeves on there. A smaller shirt you will be able to, but I just don't want to give you that chance. So in this case, let me just tell you to just print all of these to scale. They're 13 by 19 pages. It's actually 13 by 18.5. It gives you a little bleed at the top and bottom, but I just don't want to play with it. But one thing you can do is you can eliminate printing tile number 5 for sure. If you're doing an extra large, you don't need to print tile number 5, and you don't need to print, so you can actually close out of it, and you don't need to print tile number 8. That side over there, you can close out of that. So all the way up to the extra large, all you need are 6 tiles, and I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll end up doing your 6 and 7. That's it. So let me close that out. And then I'm going to show you how to do it with roll media. So same idea. If I had my reader, and I have this design, same design here, open it up. Now this time when I tell it to print, instead of 13 by 19, I'm going to tell it that I have, so I'm going to go here to properties. Oh, I'm not printing it to the Epson, I'm printing to Adobe PDF. I'm going to my properties, and I'm going to tell it high quality print. Now for the paper size, you're not going to see this 13 by 36 here. You're going to add it, add, and the paper is going to be 13 by 36. And technically, when the printers recognize the paper, your 7710s, I believe the size that it recognizes is actually 12.95. It doesn't recognize an entire 13, but if you put 13 by 36 here and you give it a 1/2 inch overlap, you're going to be fine. It doesn't give you that much of a difference, but I'm just letting you know, when you see in other applications, it'll say the widest you can make it is 12.95. That is true. So 13 by 36 is what we're calling this. And if you want to add this, you can go to add, modify, hold on. And let's go ahead and name this. I'm going to name this test. So it's 13 by 19 Super B, and I'm just naming it test so I can show you that I'm going to create another version of this. When I go to add, modify, and I come here, now I see 13 by 19 Super B test. I just created that. And of course, you can just put yours 13 by 19 Super B. I actually want this to be 13 by 36, so I'll show you how to add that. 13 by 36, and I'll call this roll media. So 13 and 36 is exactly what I need. Add and modify that so I can choose 13 by 36 roll media now. And now the program's going to listen to me and say, okay, well now you need 4 long sheets of media. However, this is what you can get away with. That would be really cool. You can get away with printing these 2 as your 13 by 36s, and then just do a 13 by 19 sheet for the sleeves. Okay? Simple. Very simple. So I would still tell that to print. So basically, if you want to do the roll media and then just print the sleeves, you're kind of going to have to do this both ways. Or when you bring in tile number 1 and tile number 4, you're just going to tell it to use 13 by 19 paper on your Photoshop. And I'll show you that. So we're going to name this as tile. We'll call this one tile roll instead of the sheets. Save that. Give it a little minute to do what it's doing there. And while it's doing that, I can take any questions you might have. All right, Lisa, what type of computer? I have this Acer with a GeForce GTX graphics card. It's really meant for gaming. And it's not necessarily to have a gaming computer. I just wanted one that could do virtual reality So it also has a pretty powerful processor, graphics card, and RAM. So it wouldn't be my top of the line pick. Top of the line pick, I would probably go for a true um, graphic design computer, but I have several different computers, so I kind of have to, put the money in different pots, as you will. So, but these are very powerful computers. I have, I think, three different Acers spanning from 7 years ago. My first one that I use to this day, I just use it to only process print orders. So that computer, that laptop stays with my printers. That's the one that I print from. I very rarely print from the computer that I'm designing on, so that everything stays consistent printed from one station. And then I have another one that I design on, one that I don't mind picking up and going with in case it gets bumped around, and then one that I keep in one position and never try to move it around because it's my more expensive one. All right. Adobe PDF is done. So you see we have our 4 tiles here. Look at that. All right, so if I'm getting ready to print this, I'm going to print from Photoshop. I'm not going to print from Adobe Acrobat. If you print from Acrobat, I almost guarantee you colors are going to be off because I don't think it has color management. I'm not even going to try to see if it has color management. I think I've tried before, and if somebody can show me something different, I'll be willing to listen. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and open the roll version of what we just created. I'm going to say open, and it's going to ask me, do I want to open all 4 pages? So I'm going to select 1 through 4, say OK, and it pulls in. It's 13 by 36 to the T. Okay. So what I was telling you, if I was putting roll media in, I would print tile number 3 as roll media. I would print tile number 2 as roll media. That's going to work out perfect because you will not have the tile right there in the middle. Okay. Now the flip side of that is tile number 1 and 4. If I'm not printing to a 2x, 3x, then all I need is this top part. When I go to File, Print, for the sleeves, I'm going to leave it as my 13 by 19 settings that I just told you about. And I'm just going to bring my sleeve down. All right, and like I said, I don't even need the whole top of it because it's just extra bleed, but I'm going to give myself that. Might as well. And I would print this as a 13 by 19. Print tile number 1 on the 13 by 19. I'm just going to hit done here. It'll save those settings. And then I will print tile number 4. Tile number 4 is the other sleeve. File, Print. And I'll print that one on 13 by 19. I'm not going to waste roll media for something that I only need that 13 by 19 print. Now, if you need up to a 3x, maybe even a 4x, this template will work for, depending on which brand 4x you're using. So yeah, I would absolutely print this on roll media if I needed that little extra side meat, but I don't need it. All right, so I'm gonna hit done on this one. So I'm gonna pretend like, hey, this printed great. It didn't stop in the middle of my print. Epson, you're wonderful with these middle range desktop printers, and it was successful. And that's usually a lie because y'all know when anytime you're printing something with a lot of ink, it'll stop you in the middle of your print. Okay, but the idea here is if it stops in the middle of your print, you just print the other direction a little bit more, and now you know how to overlap and tile that. You don't have to throw this whole sheet away because it stopped in the middle of this print. You can start from the top printing and basically tile those 2 pieces together and not waste all that ink and paper. Okay. So for me, in my mind, I already printed out the sleeve tiles, and now I want to print out the 2 long center pieces. So tile number 2 and 3. Tile 2, I'll go to File, Print, and I have a whole video showing you how to do this. So tile 2 is printing. Of course, it's not going to fit on 13 by 19, so I'm going to go to my print settings, and remember before we had 13 by 19 saved. I'm going to 13 by 36 will not be on there for you. So you're going to go to user defined, and you're going to go 13 and 36. And see, this is where I was telling you it's only going to let you go 12.95. Yeah, I'll take it. So it's going to say paper size, name, user defined, let's say 13 by 36 test. So you will be able to see that I have to hit save though, so that I make sure that I save this setting and say okay. And now when it previews, it's going to preview that whole sheet for me. Okay. And I would hit print for that. Done with that one. Let's say this prints out perfectly. I leave them open until I'm sure that they printed out properly because I don't like to close and reopen files just in case I shifted or changed something a little bit. This one will do the same thing, print, and all the settings look to be the same. See how I saved my paper setting, and I'm good to go. I would print that one. And that is 2 pieces of roll media and 2 13 by 19 sheets, and you have an all over shirt. What? All right, so that was my breakdown of how to achieve this and what settings to use. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this stuff here and see if y'all have any questions. Otherwise, I am going to start working on some of these projects. All right, love. So, and I understand that it's early in the day and y'all are used to seeing me in the evening. I'm just trying to knock this stuff out as it comes out now because when I wait till the evening, I always have a million things piled up to do, and I don't want to give y'all that kind of pooped out energy on all of my videos. Sometimes I have it. But that's it. If you have any questions, make sure that you address those questions in the Innate Creatives private Facebook group. It's really hard for me to be in all these different places. So I try to keep your questions there and you post them as a post so that other people may be able to receive the same help that you're looking for. Tanya, uh, or Tanya, how do we register for the Photoshop class on tomorrow? Great question. That's what I need to get off of live for and create for you all is the link. So I'm going to create the link on the website probably within the next hour. I'll choose because I wanted to see what you all wanted to work on. So I will go ahead and make an executive decision on what we're going to work on. And I'll post that in the group. So give me until 7 7 Eastern time, and then I will be doing a live tonight anyway. So when I'm doing my live tonight, y'all can chime in and ask me questions, okay? All right, loves, I appreciate that. Great question. So yeah, be looking out for those classes, loves. I am doing the first ever. It's gonna be a full class, but it's only gonna be $20, and it is especially encouraged for those of you who are beginners. You need to make sure that you have Photoshop downloaded, that you have Zoom downloaded because that's the medium that we're going to use for this next class, and you'll have a template that I will give you ahead of time that you'll have the link for that you'll download as well. Okay, and we're going to work on everything from setting up your, let me show you an example, from setting up your windows to make sure that all of your layer options are visible, your brushes, all of that you see on my screen, and y'all have frequently asked me like, well, why doesn't my screen look like yours? We're going to make that happen first, and then we'll go into the template. We're going to work on creating the text, bringing in the photos, resizing the images, fading off the images. So I'm taking it, I'm listening to you all, like everything that you say that you have trouble doing. Doing the layer effects, for instance, adding the drop shadows and the strokes and that sort of thing that you all see in my work. And I have a little surprise too. So for those who are, it's almost like you're taking the class for free. So for those who are doing the, who are going to register for the class, you're also going to get the brush pack. And I just decided that literally just now. I'm probably talking too much. So you'll get the brush pack, and that brush pack will allow you to do some really cool stuff that we're going to do in the session tomorrow night. Rona, great question. Will you be able to verbally communicate with me in this class? Yes. What will happen is everybody's going to be muted at first. And then if you have a question, there's a way to like raise your hand. So this is the reason why I'm doing it on this platform. I want to make sure it works for you all. There's an option to like raise your hand, and there's also a chat option, and then I can unmute your microphone and let you talk. So and you'll be able to share your screen. So you'll be doing it live with me. You need to make sure that you have a second screen. I don't care if you're watching me from, like, if you're Chromecasting me on the main TV and you got to send everybody to another room so you can get this done tonight or tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you need a screen to watch me on, and then you need a screen to work on. And you can also use a tablet. If you don't have a second monitor or a TV or something, use your iPad or your tablet to watch me on YouTube. I'm sorry, it won't be on YouTube. It'll be on the, yeah, you can watch me. Oh, that is going to kind of be odd. So you're going to need to watch me on YouTube and do it at the same time. No, you'll watch me on the program because I don't want to put this on YouTube. Y'all are paying for it. I want this to be specifically, your stuff, your content. So yes, you can watch me on two screens. I'll just make it to where you can do two screens. So you'll watch me on one screen and then you'll work on the other screen. So you won't be able to do it with a tablet. You'll have to have two monitors. I'll tell you what, I'll do a backup. I'll do a backup on YouTube because some of you don't have two monitors, right? Right. Okay, so if you have two PCs, it works. If you don't have two monitors, I want to make sure everybody can do this. I don't want no excuses. Like this is a class that should change some lives, okay? So I want to make sure that everybody can do this. What I will do is I will have a backup recording of what we're doing in real time. I will have it as a private Facebook link, so only the people who are watching the video and who are part of the class will have that link. So that's the link that you go to on your tablet. If you have two monitors, then you don't have that problem. You can literally watch both screens. You can do what you're doing and see what I'm doing at the same time. Okay? So I'm so glad y'all brought that point up to me because that's going to be essential for the folks who have to use like either a secondary setup or their iPad, or, some people will use their phone. I don't suggest you use a phone because you can't see what I'm clicking on. And that's what's going to be really important. See what I'm clicking on, see what I'm doing. We're going to do it all together. And then I'm going to do checkpoints. And checkpoints aren't going to be to embarrass anyone by any means. Checkpoints is going to be, okay, well, we should all be to this point. Anybody having any trouble? Show me your screen. And you'll show me your screen and I'll tell you, oh, okay, well, the reason why this isn't happening is because you didn't press enter and lock that in after you transformed it. Okay? So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I think I know y'all are excited. And I'm really happy to be trying this out with you all. And I think this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful relationship where we get to have our dedicated classes. Okay? So I know we came here to talk about tiling and stuff, but anytime y'all ask me questions, I try to make sure that while you have me live, because I know it's hard to get get a hold of me, you can ask any of my best friends and even family. But while you have me live, I try to answer whatever questions you have. All right, love. So I think we're ending this video. Let me get on my responsibility of creating the link for the class for tomorrow. And if you have any questions or you have any suggestions even for what I need to make sure that I let you know or give you ahead of time, please do so in the Innate Creatives group, okay? And here's the thing, you don't need a camera. I don't want anybody on camera. Not saying I don't want to look at your beautiful faces, but it slows down the connection when you're trying to do all of this extra data. So the only thing that I need to see is your screen, okay? That's it. That's it, your screen, okay? So I'm going to be looking crazy. I don't care if you look crazy. I'm going to be sitting here with a bun on top of my head. Y'all won't see me either because I'm more focused on the work that you can produce, okay? All right. Thanks, Jesse. And yes, we're good to go then. All right, love. So I will see y'all probably this later this evening, somewhere around 8, maybe 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, whenever it is that I'm able to go live with whatever project I'm doing next. And at the end of that project, we can go over any questions or concerns that you have about the class tomorrow, okay? Alrighty, loves, I will check y'all in a bit. And just for now, bye.